Hi, my name is Eric Yerkovich, and I'm a principal at Rainey Associates. We are part of a team supporting the City of Redwood city-led precise plan and environmental impact report process for the Redwood Life Campus. This video provides a brief background on the project site, the proposed Longfellow development project, and an overview of the preliminary draft project alternatives. The Redwood Life project site is about 84 acres in size. Approximately 80 acres represents the developed portion of the site, and about 4.6 acres are open areas. The area has a high proportion of impervious cover, meaning that most of the site is covered by paved surface parking or buildings. The site has around 3,400 parking stalls. The site currently hosts 20 two-story buildings that house over 25 tenants and an estimated 900 to 1,600 employees in research and development and life sciences. These buildings account for just under 1 million total square feet. At full occupancy, the existing buildings could accommodate nearly 4,000 employees. Longfellow Real Estate Partners submitted a development application for the redevelopment of the site in 2022. The development project proposes to replace the existing 20 buildings with 15 new buildings. The proposal would remove nearly all of the on-site surface parking, with parking in a mix of standalone structures and podium-parked buildings. The project would increase the number of parking stalls on the site to accommodate a project build-out with up to 7,000 stalls. This reconfiguration facilitates the development of approximately 30 acres of public open space and landscaping in the project area. This map illustrates the location of the hotel, amenity center, parking garages, and some of the parks and open spaces in the proposed Longfellow development project. The proposed development project requested an increase of 2.35 million square feet of new life sciences over the current existing 1 million square feet to approximately 3.3 million total square feet. This includes a 104-room hotel and a publicly accessible amenity building. The floor area ratio would increase from approximately 0.3 to 0.95. Most of the proposed buildings are between 4 and 5 stories in height, with some up to 6 stories or 100 feet. The proposed project has an estimated phasing plan of 25 years. As part of the proposed development project, Longfellow proposed a series of community benefits aligned with the city's strategic plan. These include contribution of $85 million for affordable housing in partnership with Eden Housing, a $2 million investment in childcare partnership with Build Up San Mateo County, an approximately 50,000 square foot amenity center with a community multipurpose room and gym, raising approximately 1 mile of the elevation of the levee around the site and road along the Belmont Slooh for flood protection, provision of publicly accessible open space, and participation in a transportation management association to improve transit, carpool, and other active modes of travel to and from the site. As part of this city-led precise plan and environmental impact process, City Council asked staff to prepare a project alternative to the proposed Longfellow development proposal to study through the California Environmental Quality Act environmental review process. Both the proposed Longfellow development project and the project alternative will be studied in full technical detail. Once confirmed, the project team will initiate environmental analysis of the proposed Longfellow development project and the CEQA project alternative. This will include evaluation of potential impacts and, if needed, additional mitigation measures. It will include also detailed technical analysis of the transportation and wet utilities systems. Before we share the preliminary project alternatives, we wanted to share some of the community issues that were raised about the proposed project. Through the Planning Commission and City Council meetings, our initial listening sessions, and other engagement meetings, we heard a mix of comments both in support of and in opposition to the development proposal. On your screen now are just a few of the items that we heard through the process. This included increased traffic, construction impacts including noise, truck traffic, deliveries, and the handling of materials on site, as well as the length of the development process. Potential impacts associated with developing on a former landfill, including emissions or leaks, insufficient oversight and regulations of life sciences, and concerns about biosafety levels, impacts on local ecosystems and biodiversity from impacts of the project, and then impacts of the hotel, including night light on the Slooh, as well as traffic overall. We considered those comments combined with other community feedback that we received on specific urban design strategies, site plan analysis, and the development principles crafted earlier in the project to shape the development of the preliminary project alternatives. The development principles in particular are really intended to provide general guidance for the project at a high level, akin or similar to a guiding principles. They are statements of the intent about the broad outcomes we hope to achieve through the process and are intended to be guidance for the precise plan and its implementation. From the community feedback and analysis, as well as those development principles, several key urban design themes emerged about the proposed Longfellow development project. These themes related to the total project size or scale, the location and the height of the buildings, how far those buildings are set back from the property line along Marine Parkway and adjacent to existing homes, as well as setbacks from the Belmont Slough, street location and parking garage access near existing homes, and the amount and location of the greenways and the community amenities building. Based on those themes, two alternatives were developed. The proposed Longfellow development project is on the top of the screen, and the two alternatives are below. These alternatives begin to test different urban design strategies to address concerns raised in the process. Rather than describe each alternative separately, we have broken the alternatives into a series of simpler graphics intended to illustrate how the alternatives address those urban design strategies. Before we get into the illustrations, this table shows some basic statistics about the existing buildings on the site now, the proposed Longfellow development project, and two project alternatives. I'll walk through this table now, but these will be illustrated over the next set of slides. On the top row, we have building size. There are 20 buildings currently on site, totaling nearly 1 million square feet of building. The proposed Longfellow development project consists of 15 buildings, approximately 2.35 million net new square feet, totaling 3.3 million square feet. Alternative 1 consists of 13 buildings and reduces the project size 10% from the proposed development project. Alternative 2 houses 12 buildings and reduces the project size 20% to 1.9 million net new square feet. The 104-room hotel remains in all of the alternatives. Public open space increases from approximately 4.6 acres to nearly 30 with the project. Both alternatives add 3 and 5 acres respectively with the removal of buildings. Setbacks increase for the two project alternatives as compared to the proposed Longfellow development project, with the average distances from the property line adjacent to the existing residential areas along Marine Parkway, increasing from an average of 135 feet to 225 and 270 feet respectively. Slough setbacks increase from 80 to 160 feet. Additionally, with the proposed alternatives, the distance between the existing homes and the buildings on the site increases overall. Likewise, with fewer square feet, the project alternatives reduce the amount of on-site open space. Through our listening sessions, we heard the proposed Longfellow development project was too many square feet and too tall, and that those taller buildings were too close to the neighbors. Several of the example design responses that we tested in the alternatives included reducing the number of buildings, especially close to the neighbors, and then lowering the building heights in specific location, as well as reducing the overall project size. This map illustrates the proposed building heights and the location for the proposed Longfellow development project. The darker blue colors represent the tallest buildings. These are proposed to approximately 90 to 100 feet in height, or about 6 stories. Medium blue buildings are approximately 75 to 90 feet, or about 5 stories. And the lightest blues are under 60 feet. These buildings are the parking structures and the community amenity building. The proposed Longfellow development project adds 2.35 million net new square feet to the site, totaling 3.3 million square feet. The project includes a 104-room hotel. This map illustrates the proposed building heights and locations for alternative 1. The alternative removes building N12 on the northeast property line and lowers the building and garage size closest to existing homes. It also lowers building heights at the high point of the site to reduce overall visual impact. Alternative 1 adds 2.1 million net new square feet to the site and a 104-room hotel as part of that, totaling 3 million square feet. This is a reduction of 244,000 square feet, or 10%. This map shows the proposed building heights and locations for alternative 2. Building on alternative 1, this option removes buildings N12 and N7 along the property lines. It lowers the building heights, reduces the size, and sets back the parking garages along the property line. It also lowers building heights at the high point of the site to reduce visual impact. Alternative 2 adds 1.9 million net new square feet, including the 104-room hotel to the site, totaling 2.86 million square feet. This is a reduction of 459,000 square feet, or 20%, from the proposed Longfellow development project. Here is a visualization showing the removal of building N12. This is the existing site condition as shown from the northeast corner of the project area. The key map in the right-hand corner shows the specific location. This illustration shows the proposed Longfellow development project with the existing landscaping. It does not show any new landscaping along the property line. This illustration shows the proposed Longfellow development project with additional new landscaping along the property line. While it masks the building somewhat, you're still able to see it peeking through the vegetation. This illustration shows the preliminary draft alternatives for the same location with the existing landscaping in space. Garage 3 is set back further from the property line, and building N12 is replaced with landscaping. Here's the same illustration of alternatives 1 and 2 with the proposed landscaping and open space along the property line. Through our listening sessions, we also heard the proposed Longfellow development project buildings were too close to the neighbors and too close to the Belmont Slough. Several of the example design responses that we tested in the alternatives included setting the buildings further back from the property line in the slough and lowering building heights near the neighborhoods, as you saw in the last slide. The following slides walk through those setbacks. This map illustrates the building setbacks for the proposed Longfellow development project from the southeast property line along Marine Parkway. The map includes black lines that show the setback from the property line and the blue lines that show the distance to the closest neighbor north and south of Island Drive. We measure the setback distance from the property line. However, there's additional distance between the property line and homes on either side of the property line. North of the central site location on Marine Parkway and at Island Drive, that space includes largely backyards. South of the entrance from Marine Parkway, this space includes residential unit access and parking. On average, the buildings are approximately 135 feet from the property line. This distance is less at the site entrance along Marine Parkway, approximately 95 feet from the property line, but increases to 150 and 185 feet north and south of the entrance. Garages G2 and G3 are the closest buildings to the existing homes at approximately 170 to 180 feet. While the main entrance has a smaller setback, this area tends to be the furthest away from existing homes since there is open space that you can see at the edge of the site. This map illustrates the proposed building setbacks for alternative 1. On average, the building setbacks increase to 225 feet from the property line. Like the proposed Longfellow development project, the setback distance is less at the site entrance along Marine Parkway, increasing to 100 feet from the property line and to 450 and 230 feet north and south of the entrance from Marine Parkway at Island Drive. The additional setback of 450 feet along the north property line relates to the removal of building N12. Garages G2 and G3 are still the closest building to existing homes, but that distance is now 250 feet. The distance of buildings N1 and N2 at the gateway of Marine Parkway and Island Drive are 400 and 500 feet, respectively, from the nearest home. This map illustrates the proposed building setbacks for alternative 2. On average, the building setbacks increase to 270 feet from the property line. Like alternative 1 and the proposed Longfellow development project, the setback distance is less at the site entrance along Marine Parkway, increasing again to 100 feet from the property line and 450 feet and 620 feet north and south of the entrance to Marine Parkway. The additional setback of 620 feet along the south property line relates to the removal of building N7. So now you can see the removal of these two buildings increases the setbacks near many homes. Like alternative 1, garages G2 and G3 are still the closest buildings to existing homes with a distance of 250 feet. The distance of buildings N1 and N2 at the gateway of Marine Parkway and Island Drive are 400 and 500 feet, respectively. This set of illustrations show cross sections from the southeast property line to parking garage G2, which is one of the closer points between the proposed buildings and existing homes. The map in the top right corner shows a key map of the select location. The illustrations on the top left show the change in setback area and greenway open space between the existing condition, proposed Longfellow development project, and the preliminary alternatives. The top image shows the existing condition. The building is set back from the property line with open space and parking area covering that space. The middle image shows the proposed Longfellow development project. The setback is approximately 95 feet from the property line with a strip of open space and landscaping and Longfellow Lane running between the property line and the parking structure. Alternative 1 increases the setback from the property line from 100 to 200 feet and removes Longfellow Lane. Over the next few slides, I'll show illustrations of building N1 and N2. These buildings are at the entrance of Marine Parkway and Island Drive. They are two of the closest buildings to the entrance to the site and to existing homes as well. On your right, you'll see a key showing again the location of the cross sections. On the top, you see the proposed Longfellow development project. The illustration shows the distance between the existing homes to the new buildings, approximately 500 feet. The buildings are set back from the property line approximately 95 feet with parking, Longfellow Lane, and open space in between. The bottom illustration shows alternatives 1 and 2. Along with an additional setback, you can see the mechanical on top of the building is set back from the top of the building, and there's a new upper story step back in the building. This will help reduce the visual impacts from neighboring homes along Marine Parkway. The next several images show you visualizations from Marine Parkway at Island Drive. This image shows existing site conditions. The open space along Marine Parkway shown in this image is not part of the Redwood Life campus. The property line is set back approximately 100 feet from Marine Parkway. This illustration shows the proposed Longfellow development project. The property line is approximately 100 feet from Marine Parkway. So while the project is set back approximately 95 feet from the property line, the buildings are approximately 200 feet or so from Marine Parkway. This set of illustrations shows both the proposed Longfellow development project on the left-hand side and the alternatives to the project on the right-hand side. In this illustration, you can see the reduction of visual impact from Marine Parkway with the additional setback of 5 feet from the property line and the additional step back of the upper story building itself. These buildings that you see in the alternatives are over 200 feet from Marine Parkway. These strategies coupled together really help to reduce the visual impact from Marine Parkway and from the neighborhood. This map illustrates the proposed building setbacks for the proposed Longfellow development project from the Belmont Slough. On average, buildings are approximately 80 to 100 feet from the slough edge. This map illustrates the proposed building setbacks from alternatives 1 and 2. Buildings are set back about 160 feet from the slough edge. There are still streets and paths in this space, but it does allow for more distance between the buildings and the slough, more opportunities for planting, and less shading of the habitat areas. This set of illustrations show the cross sections for the southeast property line to building N13 along the western edge of the project area in the Belmont Slough. The map in the top right-hand corner shows a key map of the section location. The illustrations on the left show the change in setback area, the Bay Trail and open space, and Bridge Parkway between the existing site condition, the proposed Longfellow development project, and the preliminary alternatives. The top image shows the existing condition. The building is set back approximately 100 feet in this location with the Bay Trail, open space, Bridge Parkway, and parking area in that space. The middle image shows the proposed Longfellow development project. The setback is smaller with the Bay Trail, open space, Bridge Parkway, and parking area in that space. Alternative 1 changes the building from a life science building to a parking garage. The structure is set back 160 feet or approximately 80 feet more, and the structure height is reduced by 30 feet overall. Through our listening sessions, we also heard the proposed Longfellow development project, proposed Longfellow Lane, and parking access were too close to the neighbors. Several of the example design responses that we tested in the alternatives included shifting the street further into the site, reducing the size of the structures, and generally lowering the amount of parking in the project area. By lowering the amount of project on the site, it also helps constrain the number of vehicles accessing the site each day to address traffic congestion concerns. This map illustrates the proposed Longfellow project and the parking structure locations in orange. The lane runs along the southeast property line near Marine Parkway. This alternative illustrates the new location for Longfellow Lane and parking structure location in alternatives 1 and 2. The street has shifted away from existing homes internal to the site. 2 structures remain along Longfellow Lane, but those structures have been lowered in height and width and set back further from the neighborhood. To accommodate the reduction in parking along Longfellow Lane, a life sciences building along the Belmont Slough was replaced with a structure further away from the neighborhood. Through our listening sessions, we also heard the community amenities were too far from the existing neighborhood, and there was an opportunity to create an amenity-rich space. Several of the example design responses that we tested in the alternatives included moving the community amenity building closer to the site entrance from Marine Parkway and Island Drive, and expanding the greenway to create a larger buffer for the neighbors, but also to create opportunities for programming and planting. This map illustrates the amenities center and greenway in the proposed Longfellow development project. The proposed project included nearly 30 acres of public open space and a 46,000 square foot amenity space with community multi-purpose room and gym. Alternative 1 shifts the community amenity space closer to the neighborhood, incorporating the amenity space into a mixed-use building. The alternative includes 33 acres of public open space with an increased greenway width. Like Alternative 1, Alternative 2 shifts the community amenity space closer to the neighborhood, incorporating the amenity space into a mixed-use building. The alternative includes 35 acres of public open space with an increased greenway width associated with the removal of buildings N7 and N12. This slide provides a summary of the urban design strategies and their implications for the alternatives as compared to the proposed Longfellow development project. Alternative 1 removes 2 buildings, including N12 near the neighborhood. It lowers the height of buildings at the high point of the site, reducing the overall project size by 244,000 square feet, or 10%. Alternative 2 removes an additional building, N7 near the neighborhood, reducing the project site by 459,000 square feet, or 20% reduction from the proposed Longfellow development project. Alternative 1 increases building setbacks from the property line from 135 feet on average to 220 feet on average, while Alternative 2 increases the setbacks to 270 feet on average from the property line. Buildings are set back 160 feet from the slough in both alternatives. Both alternatives shift Longfellow Lane internally to the site, lower garage heights and widths, and move them further from the property line. And finally, both alternatives move the community amenity space closer to the neighborhood into a mixed-use building. Both alternatives increase greenway width with deeper building setbacks and the removal of buildings. Thank you for listening to our video this afternoon. We appreciate your time and commitment to this project, and we look forward to engaging with you in the future. Thank you.